You've probably seen those old metal windmills as you travel across the Heartland that used to provide wind and water power to farms and ranches. They are iconic images of days gone by. But we found a man in Indiana who is giving those historic windmills new life. Travel along this unpaved country road in Poland, Indiana, and you will stumble upon a showstopper. Tucked inside the trees are the wonders of windmills. This is the Windmills at Riverside Farm, home to 60 historic treasures, some dating back to the 1870s. This historic hideaway is the handiwork of windmill enthusiast Neal Yerian. Around here, he's called the Windmill Man.
Oh, very frequently I'm known at the local bank or the hardware store or even the post office as the Windmill Man. Hopefully they use the term endearingly.
10 years ago, a strange twist of fate led Neal on his windmill journey.
When I lived in Texas, where windmills are very numerous, I happened to hunt on a piece of property where there was an old dilapidated windmill on a portion of the property. I had sat for countless years occasionally glancing at this windmill while I would be deer hunting over the course of an entire day. And finally, just something hit me one day that it would be something neat to restore.
Neal has been wowed by windmills ever since, and in 2004, he opened the gates to this windmill park.
This one's really neat looking, and you say this would have been the poor man's windmill?
That's what they called it. Back during the Depression in the 30s, this particular windmill sold for less than $20.
20 bucks?
Yes, sir.
Wow, and it would be for pumping water.
Pumping water.
I can't believe this was less than $20. Look at all of this metal.
Most of these windmills were very, very affordable. In fact, there were some that's, through time, before inflation, they actually sold for less than $15.
There are metal and wood windmills standing tall at the park. Just look at the colors and creations Neal has restored to glory.
I mean, that's one of the things that's unique about every single windmill. As these windmill companies sought to find a marketing gimmick or a marketing edge, they created different looks, they created different color schemes, they added different accessories.
Neal scours the Heartland to find windmill parts for restoration. He says it's a treasure hunt. And inside this barn are some of his wondrous windmills. Many of these date back to the 1880s.
Neal, you do extensive research when you are remodeling and remaking these windmills, restoring them. How do you find out the colors that they were? Because there wasn't even color film back then.
Well, in some of the literature that we've collected, they actually talk about it. They'll give specifications. We even know what types of wood were used, whether it was oak spokes or cypress blades or poplar girts. Each manufacturer used woods indigenous to the area that they were making their product in many cases, or what they believed was the longest lasting material available.
Neal's windmills show how wind and water power played a critical role for America's cities and farms.
Windmills played a significant role not only in industrialized and settled parts of the country, but also played a hugely important role in the growth of this country as it moved west into the arid plains. Land itself was really not inhabitable until people could find a way to harness water. Well, what you want to do is make sure that the angle of incline on your wood...
Neal's collection is one of the largest in the country. He says it's almost complete, which is why he's helping other windmill lovers restore their own mills by selling parts and lending advice.
I want to see that letter you showed me earlier, by the way, if you don't mind.
Sure.
This says it all. You got a letter from someone who you recently helped restore a windmill, and it says, "Dear Neal, the windmill is up. Our 4 kids were all here to help us, and our friends and neighbors. Sure is fun to look out our kitchen window and see it turn."
If anything really drives me, that probably pushes me harder than anything else, is knowing that we helped people track down parts they need and help them put together, like it says, their lifelong dream of having a windmill operating in their front yard or on their property.
That's what makes you tick?
More than anything else, it's not about making a dollar, like I said.
Maybe I should say that's what makes you spin.
That'd be even better.
Windmills that transform the nation and transform the life of a man who was moved by the beauty of this moving machinery.
Well, you know, you hear people say, if I was only born 100 years ago, if I lived in a different time. When I come out here to the park, I am living in a different time. I'm surrounded with windmills that date back to the 1870s. It is, I guess, my way to step back in time to a little less hectic lifetime.